Our text says the plans of the diligent lead to profit. The plan of the diligent, the thoughts of the diligent leads to profit. There is no way a man can be diligent and he will not make profit. There is no way a man can be up and doing in that which God has committed to him or to her to do, that he will not succeed. He says the plans of the diligent lead to what? Profit. Do you want to make profit in life? Do you want to succeed in life? Do you want to experience breakthrough in life? Do you want at the end of all your sojourn, all your journey, all your pursuits, all the projects you have executed in life, to be able to look back and say, I have fought the good fight. I have finished my race. The Bible is saying, if you want to make profit, you must be diligent. And let me cite an example in the Bible of diligence. We'll come to that. 1 Kings chapter 11, the story of a young man. Well, it's a good example, but a bad one. Let me tell you first of all the bad one. It's a bad example in the sense that the person talked about eventually rebelled. But it's a good example because what that young man did caught the attention of his boss. And his boss said, I can see that you're a meticulous person. I can see that anything that is given to you to do, you don't do it in a slipshod manner. Any little assignment you are given, you give it your best shot. And so the Bible tells us that that man was promoted. Are you there? Are you there? 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 28. It talks about Jeroboam. It says, now Jeroboam was a man of standing, and when Solomon saw how well the young man did his work, take note of that, how well the young man did his work. What did he do? He put him in charge of the whole labor force of the house of Joseph. Solomon made him head of service. Because even though he was a young man, Solomon was able to see something of quality in the service of this man. And so he catapulted him to the pinnacle. He made him head of service. Is that not similar to the story of Joseph? Joseph, who was sold into slavery, but right in the house of Potiphar. The Bible tells us in Genesis chapter 39 that Joseph distinguished himself. He displayed the characteristic of somebody who had the Spirit of God in him. And his boss could not help but notice that, Joseph, you are an unusual servant in this house. Eventually, Potiphar made him head over his whole household. And that's not the end of the story. Eventually, as the story unfolded in chapter 41, we find Joseph also promoted to be the prime minister in Egypt. If you read Genesis chapter 41, verses 39 to verse 45. Now, I want somebody to confirm to me the age of Joseph when he received this promotion. Tell me the age of Joseph. Look at verse 46. How many years? Sir? Are you sure? I want you to check it. I don't want you to assume. I want you to be diligent in checking it out. You know why I did that? Because many of us didn't open our Bible. But the book of Proverbs says, if you want to succeed, you must be diligent. If you want to know the counsel of God, you must be diligent in searching it out. Wisdom does not hang in the air. Wisdom is sought out. It requires effort. Amen. Let me prove that. Let me prove that to you. If you open to Proverbs chapter 2. I want you to open to Proverbs chapter 2. For you to know that wisdom is not something that jumps up and down. No. It is something that you must make effort to be able to get it. Verse 4. Proverbs chapter 2 verse 4. It says, if you look for it, as for what? As for what? Is silver easy to come by? If you look for it as silver and search for it as for a hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God and the Lord, and it goes on like that. Amen. So now back to Genesis 41 verse 46. How old was Joseph when he was promoted? Hello? How many years? 30 years. 30 years. You can imagine in this congregation, those who are 30 years of age, somebody like that just catapulted to be the prime minister of a whole nation. And we are talking about Egypt. People have gone into research about Egypt, of the civilizations of the past. Egypt was so developed, so advanced. Even before the Romans, before the Greeks. So we are talking about a nation like United States of today. A 30-year-old man was catapulted to that height to become the prime minister. Why? Because of diligence. May I say to a young man here, you may not be up to 30, you may be 15, you may be 7, but if you are diligent in what you do, the Lord himself will catapult you to a height that you may never ever imagine in life. To a height that your parents may never ever imagine in life. If you are diligent. If you are diligent. Jesus displayed diligence at the age of 12 in the temple. He was asking questions of those who were authority in the law. Those who were professors in the Bible. He was asking them questions. He was also answering those questions at the age of 12. At the age of 12. I want to ask you, as a young man, as a young woman, do you have a mind for excellence? As a young person, if you will succeed, if your life will not just be ordinary, if your pursuit in life will not just be bread and butter. There are many people who live life, they just wake up, anything that they find is good enough. They don't have a goal. They don't have a vision. They don't have objectives. They just live life and accept it the way it comes. Brethren, that is not the testimony of Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5. Because it says that the plans of the diligent lead to profit. There must be a plan. There must be a plan.